Chapter 5. Can you spare a nickel, pal? Kids in the funny pages sure lead thrilling lives. Little Orphan Annie and her dog, Sandy, are always having all sorts of adventures. And then there's Terry Lee from Terry and the Pirates. He sails to the far east with his pal Pat, looking for a lost gold mine. There's nothing thrilling happening on Curry Lane, as far as I can tell. The only thing that's lost in this house is Buddy's pants. I can hear Aunt Minnie hollering at the little boy. "Buddy," she's saying, "come on now, where did you put those pants?" "I don't remember," he says. "Put your shirt on at least," she says. "I want you to do it for me," he whines. "My arms are too tired." "Too tired? You're 4 years old. What have you got to be tired about?" Kermit walks in without knocking, cleaning his glasses on his shirt. "What are you doing?" Kermit asks. "Nothing." "The gang's got babies today," Kermit says. "You want to come along?" I start to say. "Buddy," Aunt Minnie yells, "you did not just have an accident." Kermit gives a knowing look. "You hang around here and you're going to end up watching Buddy. Believe me, he's worse than all the babies put together." Porkchop and Beans already have a wagon in the lane when we step onto the porch. It's so hot I wouldn't be surprised if the hens were laying hard-boiled eggs. "How many we got today?" Beans asks Porkchop. Porkchop pulls a scrap of paper out of his back pocket. "3, Porkchop says. "Who said she could come?" Beans asks, looking at me. "Just let her come already," Kermit says. Beans shoves his hat over his eyes. "Can't change diapers. Got it?" "Fine by me," I say. "Which means you can't get any candy, neither," Porkchop says. In short order, the wagon is packed tight with babies, like cigars in a box. There's Pudding again, and 2 other babies, one named Carlos and one named Essie. As we walk along, barefoot boys shout at Beans. "Hey, Beans, how are the babies today?" a grubby kid calls. "You need me, you just ask." "You want any help, Beans?" another one offers. "Say, Beans, you want me to fill in until Ira gets back?" I guess it's the same all over. Everyone just wants a job. "Where's your father?" I ask Kermit. "He's up in Matacumbe, working on the highway," he says. "How come you didn't go with him?" "Mama didn't want me to move. She said it's a wilderness up there. Poppy comes home every few weeks." "At least he's got a job," I say. That's the good thing about Archie. He's always had work, not like some of Mama's other fellas. Before I left home, he took me aside. "Here, Princess," he said, handing me a $5 bill. "For emergencies." "Thanks," I said. He knelt down and looked me straight in the eye. "Everything's gonna work out," he said. "I promise." The wagon hits a bump, and the front right wheel falls off, making the wagon tip. The babies wake up bawling. "This bum wagon," Beans says. Porkchop picks up the loose wheel and bangs it back on. Kermit sniffs. "I think Pudding's got a bad diaper." "What are you waiting for, then?" Beans says. Kermit takes the baby out of the wagon, lays him on the ground, and undoes his soiled diaper. Then he pulls a clean rag out of his pocket and wipes the bare bottom. It's red as can be. "Look at his bungy! No wonder the kid's crying," Kermit says. "Bungy?" I say. "What, kids in New Jersey don't have bungies?" Porkchop says. "Use the formula," Beans orders. Porkchop digs around the wagon, pulls out a small cloth sack, and hands it to Kermit, who sprinkles Pudding's bottom liberally with white powder. Then he pins a fresh diaper and plops the baby back in the wagon. "That's the secret diaper formula?" I ask, unimpressed. "Yep," Beans says. "What's in it?" Beans makes a face. "It's secret. You gotta be in the diaper gang." "Speaking of wanting to be in the diaper gang," Porkchop says, "look who's coming." The big-eared boy who was sulking around Curry Lane my first day comes running up to us. "Hey, Beans," the boy says, panting. "Too bad," Beans says coolly. I went to the lane, but your ma said you'd left already," he said. "We got babies," Beans says. "See, I was wondering if I could have another try," the boy asks, swallowing hard. We've given you 3 tries already, Too Bad, Beans says. Too Bad starts talking fast. But I've been practicing, honest I have. Pork Chop and Beans share a look. Give him a baby, Beans says. Kermit pulls baby Carlos out of the blankets and hands him to Too Bad, who looks nervous. Beans crosses his arms in front of him. Go on now. Let's see what you can do. Too Bad lays the baby on the ground and unpins the diaper. He tugs a rag out of his back pocket and gives the baby a wipe. Before he can get a fresh diaper, a stream of liquid hits him right in the face. Aww, Too Bad says. Pork Chop and Beans burst out laughing. Rule number 3, Pork Chop says, wagging his finger at Too Bad. Always duck. Especially with baby boys, Kermit adds. Too Bad shuffles off, a disappointed look on his face. See you later, Too Bad, Beans calls. Yeah, too bad you'll never be in the diaper gang, Pork Chop shouts. The afternoon air is steamy as a wet wool sock on a hot radiator when the diaper gang returns the babies to their loving mothers. The boys sit on the front porch of the house on Curry Lane eating their sweet pay while I watch. Why don't you work for money? I ask. Who'd pay us? Bean says. Most of the island's on relief. Here, you can have some of mine, Kermit says, holding out a piece of homemade papaya candy. Thanks, I say, but Bean snatches it right out of my hand. That's diaper gang candy, Bean says. Don't be giving that to her. Termite barks and Beans tosses the candy to the dog. A bell starts ringing and Kermit exclaims, Jimmy! Out on Francis Street, a throng of kids jostles around a man selling ice cream from the back of a horse-drawn wagon. Each kid takes an empty can and a spoon from the back of the wagon, and then waits in line. I want some ice cream, Beans declares. We ain't got no nickels, Pork Chop points out. Don't need nickels, Beans says, bragging. I got charm. You watch. Beans saunters right to the front of the line, holding out his empty can. The other kids don't seem to mind. It's like he's a king. What flavor, Beans? The ice cream man asks. Sour sop, Jimmy, Beans says, and the man deposits a scoop of ice cream in his empty can. That's a nickel, Beans, Jimmy says, holding out his hand. Can you spare me a nickel, Jimmy? Beans asks. Can't do it, Beans, the man says, and takes the ice cream out of Beans' hands. You still haven't paid me back from last time. But you know I'm good for it, Jimmy, Beans says, an edge of whine to his voice. Sorry, Beans. Business is business. I could have told Beans that charm only gets you so far. You gotta have smarts, too. And I got smarts aplenty. The boys slink off back to the house. I pick up a can and wait my turn in line. When I reach the front, Jimmy smiles. You must be the cousin from New Jersey, he says. I'm Turtle, I say. I'm Jimmy. What can I get you? Do you have strawberry? I ask. He reels off the flavors. I got tamarind, mango, coconut, sour sop, and sugar apple. I'll try the sugar apple, I say, and Jimmy puts a big scoop in my can. I'm walking away when Jimmy says, That's a nickel, young lady. I hold out my ice cream. The nickel was in the bottom of the can, mister. And the bottom of the can, you say? Jimmy asks skeptically. I'm gonna have to eat my way to it, I say. Might take a while. Oh, go on, Jimmy says. You can only get away with that once, though. The boys are sitting glumly on the front porch when I come walking up the lane with the ice cream. How do you get that? Pork Chop asks in an unbelieving voice. I stick my spoon in and take a bite. Use my charm, I say. Beans watches the ice cream drip down my chin and licks his lips. Say, you ain't gonna eat the whole thing by yourself, are you? He asks. I hold my spoon out to the side, and Smokey walks up and gives it a lick. Sorry, can't share with you, I say with a smile. After all, I'm not in the diaper gang.